Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It's going to be another one of these couch sessions where I'm actually here watching the tube, doing what the rest of the country is doing, sitting back, watching the sports game. But, of course, when we watch, we do it a little bit different. And, again, we'll start off by saying congrats to the winners. We're out of the gates 2-0. We loved Michigan State to beat Mississippi State this morning, and we loved Duquesne to beat BYU, which was a big upset. And you know what? Catholic school winning big in the totally Catholic-controlled March Madness tournament, which we've been educating about for nearly a full decade. Again, it was 2016 where I had the revelation that March Madness is absolutely controlled by the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. And the exact same lesson I've been giving since that year, 2016, is the exact same lesson I'm going to open up today. And let's not forget, in 2017, the tournament was also in Arizona, or at least the Final Four, where it is this year. And that was the best Final Four or best tournament we ever called out of all the years. We've had a lot of good years, but that was the best ever because we had both teams from the start of the tournament. We only had one pick for the championship, and it was UNC to beat Gonzaga. And we said it would be all about 71. And lo and behold, UNC beat Gonzaga in the championship with 71 points. We'll get to that, but I want to talk about why the first big upset of the tournament, which was Duquesne beating BYU. Duquesne, the Catholic school, beats BYU and Mark Pope. Again, the Mormons recently set up their temple right next to the Vatican in Italy. But I want to talk about why Duquesne won with 71 points. I mean, this is literally something that we've been hammering home, the significance of 71 March Madness in the Catholic Church nonstop since 2016. And that's why I really don't understand my critics. That's why I just say they're all trolls. They're either trolls or short bus riders. We're literally teaching the same stuff every year, and we're taking advantage of the same stuff every year. And I know I just talked about how the first playing game also finished with 71 points. But here, let's go over why 71 matters so much. And again, the first Catholic school to upset Duquesne does it with 71 points. They appeared in their first tournament game in 47 years. Already the people with poor listening are like leaving comments. No, it wasn't 47 years. It was 1969. 1969 was the last time they won a tournament game. The last time they were in the tournament was 47 years ago. Learn the difference. These things matter. But anyway, Gematria, if you're new here, Gematria is the language you must know behind the English language. Again, you learn this little simple code of ABC 1, 2, 3. You see, what a big joke. We're living in a big joke. The sports games are totally rigged. Money's controlling everything. Don't be the person who's like, how do they control it? Everything is controlled in this world with money. Literally everything, okay? So that is the tool to do the controlling, but what we're revealing is the script of the controlling and how everything's perfectly coordinated, and no doubt they're using technology to ensure outcomes, and games do finish on the right point. But 71 is a huge number in March Madness. So Gematria, it's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3, up to Z, the 26th letter, is 26. If you write out the word Catholic, you'd have C as the third letter. You'd have A as the first letter. You'd have T as the 20th letter. You'd have H as the 8th. O as the 15th. L as the 12th. I as the 9th. C as the 3rd. You add up the letters of Catholic, it's 71, okay? Remember, not only do we call sports games, we called the war breaking out on October 7th last year, 71 days from the Pope's birthday on Putin's 71st birthday. This 71 number is massive. It's way bigger than just the Catholics controlling March Madness. But the Duquesne Catholic school wins with 71. So there's 4 base ciphers of the English language. The alphabetic order in reverse. For example, if you run Catholic in reverse, it equals 145 instead. Like there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament than Protestant Old Testament. That's why Israel was established on 14/5 in a major Catholic Jesuit ritual, and David Ben-Gurion equals 145, the first prime minister. But okay, alphabetic order forwards and backwards. And then the other 2 ciphers are the alphabetic order forwards with numerology applied, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology applied. So the difference is alphabetic order with numerology. C is still 3, A is still 1, where it changes is T. T, the 20th letter, the numerology of 20 is 2 plus 0 is 2. So T becomes 2. You make each double-digit letter value a single digit. So Catholic ends up equating to 35 instead of 71, kind of like how the nation's first Catholic president was number 35. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, Catholic is 46, kind of like how the nation's first Catholic president, number 35, was assassinated at age 46. And it goes with the 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. March Madness equals 46 with the alphabetic order and numerology forwards, and it equals 71 with the alphabetic order and numerology applied in reverse. March Madness and Catholic both equal 46 and 71, okay? Gonzaga, the Jesuit school, equals 71 the big way. Gonzaga Bulldogs, the small way, equals 71. The last time the Final Four was in Arizona, UNC beat Gonzaga. And we knew it was going to be all about the Carolinas that year, because that year in the NBA, the Carolinas lost the NBA All-Star game over the bathroom bill, which said transgender people could not use whatever bathroom they chose. And remember, the nation and the media treated it like it was very bigoted, like it was like the new modern day racism. But bathroom bill in gematria equates to 71. And so we saw how this was all lined up with the March Madness tournament. And there was a lot more research to it, but just Gonzaga fit in perfectly that year. UNC fit in perfectly that year in the Carolinas. We expected South Carolina to do well in the men's and have a great shot in the women's. Sure enough, South Carolina won the women's tournament, and they're the Gamecocks, but they refer to the lady team as the Ladycocks. So think about the South Carolina Ladycocks winning the rigged March Madness tournament that was synced up with the big news story that year, the bathroom bill about the transgender use of whatever toilet they want in the Carolinas. I mean, just think about it. NBA gets punished. NCAA gets rewarded. Carolinas ball out. And funny enough, the Final Four is back in Arizona this year. And once again, North Carolina is the top contender this year. South Carolina is back in the tournament for the first time since 2017. So there's some obvious parallels going on. But I didn't see a bathroom bill type news story this year. That's the big difference for the Carolinas. But yeah, Duquesne. Duquesne comes out and wins the first game with 71. And the reason we loved Duquesne to upset today is because how perfect it was. It was not an accident that when they again, people think that like the listen, you listen to people argue about how dumb the bracket is each year and how this seed doesn't make any sense and who's on this selection committee. How could they possibly put this team here? Again, I just get tired of listening to this each year because it's like, how do these people who are so into sports still not know about what we've been accomplishing for a decade? I mean, literally our accomplishments in this community are, just, it's unprecedented. We have definitively proved how sports are rigged, and we've called so many futures it's ridiculous. College and pro, and year after year, we're teaching the exact same things, the same patterns. But here, with Duquesne and BYU, it was the perfect alignment. BYU came into this tournament 15 and 33 all time. That was BYU's college basketball tournament record, 15 and 33. They fell to 15 and 34. Out of the four ciphers, there's one cipher that matters more than any of them, and it's the alphabetic order with numerology. That is our go-to cipher. Dukes, which is the name of Duquesne, their nickname, Dukes equals 15, and it goes with them being in the tournament for the first time in 47 years, because 47 is the 15th prime number. But Duquesne equates to 34 in that cipher. So Duquesne 34, Dukes 15, BYU falls to 15 and 34 in the tournament all-time, losing. Another kicker, Pope. The word Pope equals 25 forwards, 11 in reverse when numerology is applied. Duquesne, I got to double check. One of the stats became 25 and 11 in the game by Duquesne winning. It might be their tournament record all time if they used to be back in the tournament back in the day, back in the olden days, or maybe their coach became 25 and 11. But again, 25 and 11 versus the other coach who's Pope. And again, you got the connection with the Catholic Church and the Mormons with the recent temple opening next to the Vatican. Also, this was Duquesne's 108th season as a basketball team. and the BYU coach picked up his 108th all-time loss. So just all these number alignments for Duquesne. And just to keep up with things, the Akron-Creighton game just finished. And no one's shocked that Creighton beat Akron. It was a 3 seed versus 14 seed. We were pulling for the Akron upset as well. We know we're not going to get every upset, and we knew that the Duquesne upset was a lot more likely because it was just such a beautiful alignment. The thing we were hoping would happen in Akron-Creighton, which was a possible upset, is that Creighton could have stayed on 23 wins coming into the tournament. But the thing is, staying is never as consistent as picking up numbers, like how BYU picked up the 34th loss versus Duquesne. It would have been nice if Creighton stayed on 23 because in the most pure cipher, Akron's 23, Blue Jays is 23. And the other thing that was really enticing is had Akron won, they would have been the 23rd 14 seed to win in the tournament since it went to this, this larger format. But we didn't get that one, but we're not disappointed. What I teach people to do is make parlays. And, honestly, out of all the games today, 2 of our very favorite games were the Duquesne upset and Michigan State, who had great value, slight dog Michigan State. Both of them had excellent narratives. With regards to Michigan State, we always teach about 35 Thursday. Thursday equals 35 in the most pure. It's named after Jupiter, which the Catholic Church venerates, just like Catholics 35. Michigan State stayed on 35 losses in the tournament. Spartans equals 27 in the most pure. The Mississippi State coach got his 27th loss. But, again, what we teach people to do is take small tickets with good narratives and value, put a few games together, and try to stretch a $5 bill into 50. So, for example, if you took this morning, if you took Duquesne, Michigan State, which both look great, you stuck them with Arizona, and you could have even taken Creighton too, just to be on the other side of that game with the expectation. In North Carolina, who's a big favorite, who's beating Wagner up right now. Again, a ticket like that with some big, heavy favorite locks and some nice value, one nice value game and a nice upset, that's how you can turn $5 into well over 50. And like I teach people, don't become a gambling degenerate. Don't go out and bet way more than you can afford to lose. But instead of wasting your money on a cup of coffee at Starbucks, which is way overpriced, you're essentially just burning a $5 bill, make that coffee at home, which costs pennies, and then spend your $5 on a parlay that day, taking advantage of the rig sports, try and get $50 grocery money. So, the thing that drives me nuts too is because of what we've done, because we've literally just fully exposed how rigged the scripted world of sports is. It just nonstop trolling and harassment. And it's like anytime I put out a video promoting the work, there's always 5 troll comments right away, and they have a ton of likes and a ton of hater comments. And it's like, you think if this guy was making sports picks, he'd have to have a subscription service? And then there's like 15 comments that are like, yeah, what a shill. It's such an obvious shill. And it's like, meanwhile, you go over to guys who, who Chris Saenz is? If you don't know who it is, check out his YouTube channel. He's a young guy too, and he does stock picks. And, YouTube, he just put up a video about the feature news story he just got. They just interviewed him, how he was a young black inner city kid. And he learned to take advantage of the stock market. Now he's a multi-millionaire. And now he makes over $3 million a year in YouTube ad revenue. And now he helps people with stock picks. Well, go over to his channel and watch his channel and watch what he does. He gives out the same stock picks all of the major channels on YouTube give out. They all give out the same stock picks. They're all following the same stocks: Tesla, Apple, Nvidia. They're all, it's like all the major stock pickers on YouTube are all giving out the exact same information. They're all getting huge followings. They're not doing anything different from one another. And then the thing is like, and again, they're just riding the trends. It's not like he gave out Nvidia before it went up, times 100 in value. But the point I'm making is these people aren't doing anything that's really that interesting. They're all essentially copying each other and putting out the same information. And then they're charging hundreds of dollars a month if you want the extra information they put out on the stock market. And, like if you watch Chris Saenz the last 2 weeks, he's been off on all of his stock picks. Like he hasn't really given out good advice. He's like, oh, another tough day. And he's like, you've been with me for 2 years and still haven't made anything. Don't worry. You just stick with it. You're eventually going to break through. I mean, there's nobody in my community who's been following my advice for 2 years and hasn't made money. I mean, it just doesn't happen. We have bad days, and sometimes we have a few bad stretch of days because just regular patterns aren't coming through, but then we get back on track. The point I'm making is you go to Chris Sign's channel, he's got 1 million views per video. He's making $3 million a month in YouTube revenue. He's probably making another $3 million a month in subs because he's promoted by the algorithm, and he doesn't have 1,000 trolls in his comments. He doesn't have 1,000 trolls there. I doubt you go on his Patreon and it's nothing but trolls. Again, I want people to understand why I am harassed 24/7, 365. If you go on my Patreon, there's 50 new troll accounts each day imitating me, trying to scare new people away. It's because what we're doing is unprecedented. What we're doing is definitively proving who runs this nation, who rigs its games, who actually controls the money. It's not Zionist bankers and the Rothschilds. That's the fake information that all the fake truthers promote. Why is every Rothschild dying a Jesuit ritual, like the one who just died at 87, whose name equals 87, whose bank equals 87, who dies perfectly synced with the 87-year-old Pope when the Catholic Church, when you put a the in front of it, equals 87 in Gematria, you know? Who were the original bankers? Were they Rothschilds? Were they Zionist Jews? No, the original bankers were the Templars, the military order of the Catholic Church, who's always controlled the world. Again, the original government structure of the world, Catholic Church. Again, what governed Europe at the time this nation was founded when the Jesuits were in suppression? The Catholic Church. Why do you think the founders had separation of church and state as a key part of the idea of this nation? Believe me, that separation ended a long time ago, like back when they moved the capital to the Jesuit stronghold, Washington, D.C. Let's not forget the first March Madness ever, when they went by that name, was 85. And again, the Catholic school Villanova beat the Jesuit school Georgetown. R.I.P. to John Thompson, who got offed by the Jesuit code not that many years ago. But yeah, it's just annoying just having a pack of losers and paid-for trolls just harass and write bullshit and slander and lie. And it's like, you know, like, why doesn't a guy like Chris Signs, who's literally probably making $10 million a year between ad revenue and YouTube video, and think about that too. Like, I really do think the channels like that, part of the ad revenue they get paid is the ad revenue that's stolen from channels like mine, because, you know, YouTube doesn't let me monetize. Well, they've let me monetize like 3 out of the 20-some channels I've had. And like, they'll never let me monetize GematriaEffectNews Sports. But then even the channel that is monetized right now, the views just constantly go down, down, down. The video comes out, it has more likes than views. It's like, I'm supposed to be paid on views, but then the views are being obviously manipulated. How can I possibly have more likes than views? So anyway, it's just like, you know, YouTube's cheating, trolls are harassing, and then these guys who are going on the news like Chris Signs getting to talk about how they get paid millions of dollars. They don't have anybody harassing them. I mean, just think about the logic of what I'm saying. Well, why doesn't Chris Signs, after giving out, you know, weeks of bad stock picks, nothing original from anybody else, how come he doesn't have a network of people harassing him? Or anyone else does the same thing as Chris Signs? I'm just talking about him because he's one of the bigger stock picker guys. And again, he did just have some big feature news article, which he showed off on his channel. And I just think, isn't it interesting? You know, it's weird how a guy like that that's getting all this attention doesn't have any trolls, doesn't have any harassment, and at the same time really isn't doing anything. I mean, there's nothing unique. There's nothing interesting about it. This channel is just him talking about how smooth he is and how he's a sniper, and no one can, you know, make the stock picks like him. But it's like, you're not even doing anything different, and your picks aren't even that interesting. You know, honestly, with the information we put out about last Friday, 15/3, how cannabis stocks were on fire on that day, 153. Cannabis equals 153 in Gematria. On 15/3, the Ides of March, cannabis was the hot stock. All cannabis stocks were up between like 10% and 35% on 15/3. I mean, that's the real information. Chris Signs' video that day for stock picks, which weren't even helpful, got like 1 million views. I think ours got like 1.5K views. And, of course, back in 2016, 2017, we'd be getting the views too. But they've destroyed this channel in terms of its views. And, yeah, again, just for all the people who are, like, suspicious, like, I'm not sure about what he's saying. Again, I don't know why you're not sure. I've been here for a decade, proving my point year in, year out, day after day, and teaching about the same things. The real question you'd ask is, why does a guy like Chris Sainz, why is he getting millions by YouTube and has all this following when he's not really doing anything? Why does Zachary K. Hubbard's channel have millions upon millions of views in light of what he's exposing? And then you'll start to understand when you ask those questions how rigged the game is. So, do I think that Arizona makes the Final Four? Woo, man. We're on Patreon. We give out the picks and information. So, I mean, I'll talk to you guys about stuff that I see in the games right now. But again, the Patreon is for people who want to support the work. And unlike the Chris Sainz of the world, I don't charge hundreds of dollars a month, even though my content's way better than his. You know, I charge $5 a month. I charge $11 if you want everything. You know what I mean? We make things affordable to help people out, give them life-changing knowledge. And again, got all the haters in the world for it. People that are frauding the system, acting like they're actually doing something when they're doing nothing. They're getting TV spots, you know, and don't have a comment section full of just loser trolls. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're obviously doing special things for Arizona. Lute Olson, the great Arizona coach for the Wildcats, died at 85. This is the 85th tournament. Lute Olson began his career coaching Long Beach State, who just barely snuck into the tournament. They're like the craziest story of the tournament, how they even got in. And then they just happened to be facing Arizona. So Lute Olson's two teams are playing each other in the 85th when he died at 85. And again, you guys can watch my call before the game when Arizona just played Arizona State. I said, watch to see if Arizona beats Arizona State with 85. It's very possible. And sure enough, Arizona beats Arizona State with 85. But, Arizona's got one of the tougher brackets, so we'll see what happens. The only time Lute Olson won the championship was back in 97. And in that bracket, if you go back and look, he had to go through North Carolina. North Carolina is the 1 seed and Arizona's the 2 seed in that bracket. And then he won the championship over Kentucky. And of course, Arizona and Kentucky are both Wildcats. Those are the school nicknames, Wildcats. In 1985, it was Kentucky that hosted the tournament. And who won that one in 1985? The Villanova Wildcats. So there's definitely a storyline for Arizona with the Final Four in Arizona. Arizona in Gematria. The big way, the most simple way is 84. The championship is on the 8th day of the 4th month. Last year in the 84th tournament, Arizona got humiliated in the opening round, losing to the Ivy League school in the obvious script where Arizona didn't score a point in the last, 5.5 minutes? It's like, yeah, okay. Oh, man, the fact that people can't see how rigged it is. We've documented some of the most obvious rigs in March Madness. It's just embarrassing that people are still talking about these games like the tournament's real each year. It's maddening. It's maddening that people think these games are legitimate. I mean, like I said, I really feel like there should be a new administration in this country, and the first law that should be passed is if you're still going to sports games, if you're still watching the news, anytime you're on a public roadway, you should only be allowed to be on the roadway in a short bus. And, of course, it'd be good for short bus stocks, but it would be really helpful for identifying the populace because you'd see just like traffic jams of short buses. And then occasionally you'd see another car and you'd be like, that person could be driving around in a Geo Metro. Wouldn't matter. You'd be like, there is somebody who's a fucking genius. Somebody who's actually worth a shit. But seriously, I mean, like almost this whole nation is nothing but short bus riders. I mean, it's just like pathetic. It's pathetic. It's pathetic that anyone's still going to these games. It's pathetic that anyone still thinks that the games are the least bit legitimate, college and pro. It's just all money controls all of it. And yeah, it's just, again, and that also, the thing is, the work we do here, it does have the power to snap people out of the short bus mode. And that's why we've been clamped down on so hard in the algorithm. I mean, my Gematria Effect Sports channel literally has 6,000 less subs right now than it did last March Madness. And they haven't let it grow at all. They've just kept it at 89,000 for a whole year. It's been slowly shrinking each month. Like every month it loses 28 more subs. They've just kept it in the 89,000 range ever since 1 year ago. They didn't like what we exposed about last year's tournament. So That's the way it really works. You do something real, you put out a real message, you can't get monetized, you get nonstop trolled, you get destroyed with the algorithm, they take away your subs, they make sure your channel shrinks every month. You put out the same old stock picks that really aren't good for people as everybody else in the mainstream does. Man, you get a new special segment about you for putting out whack stock picks, $3 million a year in YouTube ad revenue. That's crazy. And when I looked at it, I was like, wow, he makes $3 million. I mean, he there's a lot bigger YouTube channels than his, so it makes me wonder, like, what the biggest YouTube channels make. Like, what is their ad revenue? If he's getting $3 million a year, some of these channels must be getting just like hundreds of millions in ad revenue a year, which is crazy. Like the guys that YouTube puts on the front page who are painting their fingernails. And those people don't have any trolls. They're the coolest people in the country. Indeed. 35 Thursday is here winning. Shout out to Gematria32. He came out and pounded payment with us all over in New York. I did drop a link. I did drop a link for anybody who'd like to join the stream. And just a warning, last year when we did a March Madness stream like this and I dropped a link, we did have some weirdo come on and he made it so we had to take down our whole stream, because what he did is he just put the camera on his genitals and then he just pointed the camera at his genitals so that we'd get taken down for nudity. And again, those are the kind of weirdos we have around here, just trying to break up the message. But if that does happen, this year I got the video going on StreamYard, so I can take it down, but StreamYard automatically backs up everything, so I could always cut out that part. Yeah, if you guys weren't here for that last year, that definitely happened in our March Madness stream. It was gross. It wasn't a butthurt gambling addict. It was one of the paid-for trolls, the same ones that have been here every day for 10 years since before. Again, I've had nonstop trolling since 3 years before I even had a Patreon. We've had nonstop trolling because we've been putting out the nonstop truth. But yeah, if anyone wants to join, now is the time. Links in the description. The game I got here on the screen is Illinois Morehead State. And we'll see if Jay Bilas was telling the truth. Again, I haven't watched any college basketball all year. I hardly ever watch TV. There just aren't enough hours in a day. And even like right now, I should be working on my book. But since it is March Madness and it's a chance to wake people up, pull them out of the coma, we're doing it. But yeah, TV, watching TV, it really is just like a loss of your time and things you could actually be doing in your life. And again, there's a reason America, you go outside, you got so many obese people. It's because they're sitting on their butt, they're watching movies, TV shows, Netflix, playing video games, not moving their body, not doing things that build skills. But we'll make the exception here to call out the March Madness. Here, let me see. Oh, wait, hold up. We do have. Oh, I see. It's different on here. All right, we do have people in the back room. I'm going to bring on this guy first because his face is actually on the screen, just in case we have one of these genital surprises last year.
What's up?
What's up, man?
What's up? I'm just looking at the brackets now. They're getting interesting. I went to Duquesne, so I'm kind of excited that they got that game handed to them. It seemed like the whole time that sort of like where that was going. They had the narratives talking about the whole time. There was this weird part where BYU clearly made a 3, yet they called it a 2. And I was like, how bad do they want Duquesne to win this? Turns out they did.
Yeah, and you could see that the big guy for BYU was complaining to the refs because you could see he was getting hacked a lot, and he was not getting any calls. He wasn't getting any love from the refs, and he was getting hit several times in the game. You could tell. Exactly. It was officiated for Duquesne.
It's like half of me was like, oh, that's great. I got to see him win. The other half is like, oh, this is kind of cheap. Like,
yeah.
For that reason, I could see him going even further. If the NCAA is going to script him for one game, I don't see why not.
I'm trying to think. They play who do they play the winner of? Do they play UConn?
They play Illinois or Morehead.
Illinois. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that'll be tough, but who knows?
Well, Illinois, I want to say it was Illinois came up short last year, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, I think they did.
we'll see. Again, if it could be like 1985, it was a Catholic school and a Jesuit school. So Duquesne's one of the more interesting Duquesne would be the lowest seed ever to make it. So that would be interesting.
That'd be pretty dope. They made the Final Four the first year of the Final Four, and then trash since then. They used to be good in the 50s when small Catholic schools used to be good at basketball.
Yeah.
Which is why it's even surprising they're here right now.
Yeah. And again, just about a Catholic school being one of the top-notch schools in the past, it just reminds who's been running the show the whole time.
Totally. Catholic and Jesuit schools everywhere in March Madness.
Yeah.
Picking my bets, I kind of leaned to Jesuit schools a bit, Creighton, whatnot. The typical ones aren't there, Villanova and Georgetown, but somehow there's always a handful.
The Jesuit schools in this year's tournament, I think Creighton is the highest seeded one. You got Gonzaga, of course. Oh, no, actually, Marquette's the highest seeded one. Marquette's a 2 seed. Creighton's a 3 seed. Gonzaga's a 5. And isn't there one more Jesuit school? I think I'm forgetting one.
You're killing it, Zach. You crush it. I'm trying to look. Baylor's not Jesuit? No.
No, they're Christian school.
St. Mary's?
St. Mary's is Catholic.
Yeah.
The Gales.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there might be one more, but it's slipping my mind right now.
Have you caught any other great narratives like the Lute Olson one? Like, I feel like that's one of those that's just like, it's so obvious. It's kind of interesting that casuals, even betting casuals, don't know about stuff like that.
It's because, it does amaze me the things people overlook and don't notice. That's the biggest storyline I see, and it makes sense in light of the Final Four being in Arizona.
Totally.
There are some other interesting stories. By the way, you guys, here's a free one for you. CJ McCollum, they just had him on the screen. He's a former Portland Trailblazer. Now he's out there on the Pelicans. Learn date numerology. Every time this season that it's 3 date numerology, he's a 3-point shooter who wears the number 3. His line every night is at +2.5. His line every night for player props is 2.5 threes. So it means that he has to make more than 2.5 to win, or if you bet him to take the under, he'd have to make less than 3. But every single time the 3 date numerology comes up, CJ McCollum's cashing that +3 prop. And just the other night was hilarious because he came out of the gate and he hit like 3 threes just to start the game. You had already won your bet like 2 minutes into the game. And again, you guys, it's all numbers, man. I'm not the one who made the Masonic religion, and I didn't etch on the temple all his number. I'm just the one who finally observed it. And
literally,
again, you start looking at all the American sports; they're all credited to secret societies, and it all just starts to make a lot of sense once you realize what they're doing. So.
My 87-year-old grandma was just here, and I was telling her about the Jesuits and the Freemasons. she was all for it. I was telling her about rigged basketball and stuff. I couldn't believe how open she was to it, and I was like, wow.
Sure. In this little town that I now live in, they love when I come in to get my haircut because I always want the latest. And I hadn't been in there since before the Super Bowl. But even the lady who cuts my hair, she called her brother to come in because she wanted him to hear about what I was saying about the rigged Super Bowl. Yeah. And I was telling them all about how it was going to be all about 19 and why the Chiefs were the first team to go back-to-back in 19 years. So today they were getting the lowdown. I was telling them all the 19s on the game. Again, for people who missed the Super Bowl, you guys go watch my broadcast. The opening broadcast of calling the whole Super Bowl, I started with why they brought the 49ers out 19 minutes after the hour, led out by Deebo Samuel, number 19. And then they had the Chiefs take the field. But again, Montana wore 19 with the Chiefs. Chiefs became first team to go back-to-back in 19 years. The game was ended with McCole Hardman's 19th career touchdown. Joe Montana's 67 years old, which is the 19th prime number. The game goes to overtime 19-19, and before that it was 16-19, which were the two jersey numbers Montana wore in his life. And, of course, Montana went to Notre Dame, another Catholic. And, again, I mean, it's all these sports, you guys, you just pay attention to it. It's nothing but number rituals.
It's dark, though. Like, the Super Bowl, like, seeing how scripted it was and how many numbers lined up, how many of the scores added up to a relevant number, it was honestly dark. And then you get another satanic Super Bowl and halftime show. It's just like,
sure. Wow. Well, it was nice that it was funny though that they had Usher do confessions on the Vatican's birthday. I mean,
I know.
More Catholic than confessions.
And then you had the what's her face, someone I don't give a fuck about doing that. Sorry guys, sorry to do that.
I forget. Did they have Alicia Keys out there? I forget who it was.
It wasn't like Ice Spice. It was someone like that. I don't know. I think it was Ice Spice.
Okay.
I could really give a shit who exactly, but yeah, someone's next to doing the magic next to Taylor Swift. That was some messed up shit.
Indeed. So your grandma was receptive to the information.
Dude, she was honestly very receptive. She was like, so what are the Freemasons about? And then I get my laptop, I pull out Morals and Dogma. I just start going through some of the pages. And my grandfather who's passed, her husband went to St. Peter's. So he's Jesuit educated. And she was like, your pop would love to talk about this with you. He would be so into it. And yeah, it's just fascinating stuff. It just goes to show that like some people, they hear about it and they're just like, no, fluoride stare. Other people, they're like, whoa, like this is deep as shit. So that's why I like bringing it up to people. It's just wild. Jesuits and Freemasons.
Indeed. Well, very cool, man. Well, hey, congrats to your school, Duquesne. Being a part of the school, it's like, even if you know it's rigged, it's like, well, it's still my school, so it still feels a little bit.
Literally, and they haven't won in, like,
forever,
their last one
right?
was 69. The Beatles
way
were
before
still
you were
banned,
here, right? Way before any of us were here probably watching right now.
Yeah, so I'll soak it in. Thanks,
Yeah.
Zach. Good talking
right,
to you, man.
You have a good day.
Have a good one. Thanks, you too.
Take care. All right, we got Sosa in the back room. What's up, Sosa?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Oh, I know that voice. What's up, man? The man goes by 1,000 names.
Yeah, you got to change it up every now and then.
Sure.
With YouTube.
Yeah, hey, for Bill don't understand. It's like I'm talking about this Chris Simon guy who's getting a millionaire off doing like nothing interesting, getting to go on TV. He doesn't have any trolls. Here's Itachi who's learned the man who goes by 1,000 names, but he does the work. He helps people win too, and he's only been here for so many years, and he already has a legion of haters. It's just crazy, man. I mean, you do this work and help get the word out, you will be targeted.
Yeah, but the TSA agent doesn't have any trolls who deletes his post. Right. The delusion who's on to this Christianity. All those guys who had the 49ers.
They are the trolls. They're part of the.
They are. Yeah, they're part of the government making it look bad. The feds.
Right.
So we got to talk about this amazing call with Mark Pope.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I saw the 1534 thing, and then it was Itachi who caught the 1125 Pope thing just for extra icing on the cake. Yeah. Go ahead.
These other ciphers, man. An English extended cipher. True TV equals 1190. That's how many losses Duquesne has.
Oh, as a franchise, 1190?
Yeah, 1190.
Okay, so again, at the beginning of the stream, I talked about the 4 base ciphers. Those are the primary ciphers we use. If you've read my first book, Letters and Numbers, I write about the other ciphers that are relevant. And the one he's bringing up, English extended, it's meant to pay tribute to Hebrew gematria and Greek isopsephy. And it definitely can be relevant. So that is interesting. True TV is 1190. It gives you bigger values in that cipher. Wow. Okay.
For example, someone sent you a death letter on 218, or said you would die on 218, and when you
that did happen a long time ago.
Yeah, and when you write out death, it's 218. Another example: Microsoft Teams, a popular app, in the satanic cipher, it's 666.
For people who want to check out that cipher, where that cipher is online is there's a website called writingthebeast.com, and they have a gematria calculator. And on that cipher, it's just called English Gematria. But if you go there and type in True TV like the channel is, and type it the way the channel is, which is TRUTV, you'll see what he's talking about.
Yeah, so good to check out those other ciphers. But the 11 seed, right? They were playing against Mark Pope. Pope equals 11. They became 5-5 in the NCAA. 11 is the 5th prime number. There's just a ton to go over there. But the main thing was, Mark Pope, his record is now 110-52. And, you've talked about that combination with the word prophecy. And it is kind of scary because he's born 9/11, right? Mark Pope. Like they stayed on 1190 losses. How it's written November 9th, but
you can't help but notice the 119 sequence of the number, since the sitting pope right now is Francis, which equals 119, like Vatican.
And he was became Pope March 13th, 2013, a span of 11 years, 9 days ago.
And the Pope just crossed the 11-year anniversary of being the Pope. That was March 13th, 2013. So the 13th of the month was the 11th anniversary.
And I told you, rigged college basketball in 1989, all the 11 seeds won. When 80,
which makes sense because 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number. So what a year for the 11s.
Yeah, and kind of what I've been seeing is there was a nice riddle with the Virginia Cavaliers, a prime number and Fibonacci number relationship in the first four. I might think they just kind of set that stuff up so perfectly to, because you'll have a lot of people who will sign up, and then that first day they're like, "Wow, see, gematria is bullshit." I'm almost like kind of glad when it doesn't just go nicely by the numbers in that first four, if that makes sense for that type of reasoning.
All I know is we loved Michigan State and we loved Duquesne, and they open up the tournament for us with some nice big wins. So, yeah, I always just think about the critics, and I just think about how empty their heads are.
Yeah. I don't know how you have I don't know how anyone's watching BYU lose to Duquesne and think that shit's real, man. But yeah, with Akron. So what they did was they kind of sacrificed Akron, right? A lot of people would be like, especially decoding wise, right? It's like this looks good. It's synced up with LeBron. But what they have do is the coach, who is LeBron's high school coach, win instead.
Okay. Hey, I just got in real time. I'm just seeing that Arizona is up on Long Beach State, 84-64. And they just put on
85.
the 85th points of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, first team to hit 85 is Arizona. And one more time, you guys, Lute Olson, the Arizona Wildcats coach who won them their only championship, died at 85. And his first team was Long Beach State. And if you look it up, Lute Olson won 24 games with Long Beach State. So go figure that the first game of the 24 tournament is his two schools playing each other. But I'm interested to see what that final is. Are they going to add on more points? Are they going to leave it there? But let it be known they were the first team to hit the 85 threshold in the tournament. Okay. You there, Tachi? Is it me? Is it my connection or his?
Can you hear me?
I see Big Al in the chat said he missed the next free throw, so he stayed on 85. Okay, we'll see what happens. I hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I was talking about the South Dakota State. I was trying to pull up a picture, but when I do that on my phone, it exits the call. There's a relationship with the current Iowa State coach leaving South Dakota State. So, and again, they just embarrassed Houston in the conference championship. I feel like this is usually how they punk people, right? Because it's like, wow, this team just beat Houston, and now they can't even beat, South Dakota State. So there's that narrative there that that we've seen in the past, and that's a 15 seed to keep an eye on. I mean, they kind of come out of nowhere, and the mascot is Jackrabbits, which has the 201 connection, kind of like St. Peter's was from the 201 area code, and they upset, and so was Princeton. So
I see. Hey, I got to ask a question because I don't watch these games. I recognize Chet Holmgren. They keep playing this ad where Chet Holmgren's in some leather and he's with another player who's all in black leather. Yeah. Who's the guy that Chet Holmgren's with? Do you know? Have you seen this ad?
Oh, really? Dude, he's second MVP leader. He's second in line for most likely to win MVP. That's the Canadian guy, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
And what teams he play for?
He's his teammate on the Thunder. He averages
so they're both Thunder players. Okay.
Yeah, that guy averages you can't play defense now, but he averages 33 points. If he was marketable, he kind of reminds me of Joe Johnson. It's like if the games were scripted around him, he might be the best player.
Joe Johnson always made the game look so easy. I remember back in the day when I played fantasy basketball. They keep showing this ad too. Are you guys seeing this ad where the power all goes out?
Hang on, let me rewind my thing. The Phoenix Electric. Yeah, what? Yeah, I'm seeing that. See, I'm not paying enough attention to that. Shit. Yeah, that's I mean, they put in your face again. Obama 192. Today's 192 days from 9/11. If you can still hear me. No sound.
Okay, do I have sound now? Is the sound back? Do we have sound again? I see we lost like all the people in the room too. Okay, so all right. So just what I was saying while I was muted. Well, I was probably saying a bunch of things, but what I remember. So Arizona, again, we were talking about how this is the 85th tournament. Lute Olson died at 85. Arizona just beat Arizona State with 85, which we called before the game happened. And now Arizona's the first team to record 85 points in the tournament, beating Lute Olson's original school, Long Beach State, who he won 24 games with. First game for Arizona, the 24 tournaments versus Long Beach State. But yeah, that's an encouraging sign for Arizona, because what I was saying is 2 years ago, the 83rd tournament, Kansas won it. They were the only team to score 83 in the opening round, and then they won the tournament 65 days after the state's birthday, and Kansas equals 65. They had that thing synced up with Danny Manning, too, former Kansas star. And then last year was the 84th tournament. Nobody scored 84 points in the opening round, but UConn, after they scored the 84th points of the game, they stopped the game and they said there was a snag in the net. So they took down UConn's nets like you take down the nets and you win the championship while they were on 84. And we'd circled about 7 teams before the tournament that had a good 84 narrative. UConn's narrative that we saw before the tournament was that if Hurley won it, he would be 8-4 in the tournament. He came in 2-4. You got to win 6 games to win it all. Sure enough, he did. He became 8-4. But the big clue was them taking down the nets with the 84th points. So, again, Arizona is the first team to record 85. Seems so, it's the symbolism so obvious. What remains to be seen is, with all these remaining games in this round, will anybody else score 85? Will there be any other 85 rituals? So keep your eyes on that. Again, Arizona's the Wildcats. In 1985, the Villanova Wildcats won the championship in Kentucky, which is the home of the Kentucky Wildcats. So let's get this person on. What's up? I'm not sure how to pronounce the first part. D Productions. You're in the room. Do I not have any sound? What's going on here? Can anyone hear D Productions? I can't hear them. Yeah, I do remember that. And that's how you can just see the rig. Exactly. Just great players, just all of a sudden just going to throw the game mode. So obvious. Appreciate the tip and the remember. And no doubt we're going to be talking about more things like that. Just more corny finishes, more nonsensical collapses. Arizona finished with 85. I mean, we've been on it. We've been on it. Okay, we got a phone call interruption. Can you guys hear me or am I muted again? I bet I'm muted again. I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
Looked like they were trying to run a screening situation.
All right. We're good. We're good. Yeah. I mean, you guys, like I said, I'm going to go back to the rant I was having about just like these people that just put out mediocre information that's no different from other things that's getting pushed by the platform, and then to see them getting TV specials and how they're making millions of dollars in YouTube ad revenue. It's like, see, you guys, that should be the story over here. We should be getting millions of dollars in YouTube ad revenue for what we brought to the world. That's not going to happen, though, because we're messing with the system and the money that they want. They don't want somebody making money that's exposing and messing with their money game. You know, like the Chris Signs guy, he's helping essentially he's helping the people who make the money off the market make more money. But yeah, like literally, if we had millions of dollars coming in here on YouTube ad revenue, we'd have GematriaEffectNews stations all over. We'd be out at every single site today. We'd have a team of employees out at every single site where games are, getting out the word about the rig. What happened to Lute Olson? Why they just scored 85? And that's what I mean. We've just been doing this year after year, laying down the numbers, talking about the rituals, what to look for, and then boom, it just happens again. It just happens again. It just happens again. So, by the way, trolls, like the trolls who live on the Patreon and harass, if you guys can come on here and not show your genitals this year like you did last year, and literally like explain like how much you guys getting paid to troll every day? How much money's being paid to all of the trolls who harass this work in this community 24/7, 365 for nearly going on a decade? I've had trolls 24/7, 365 since 2015. Next year will be 10 years of nonstop trolling. How much money's been paid to these people? And why are you trying to hate on literally the dopest information that's been shared with the world on the tube? And if that's not true, tell me what has. What's more interesting that's been shared on YouTube since it's existed in 2005 than what we've been laying down? Let me know. Didn't Creighton score 77? I thought I saw Creighton scored 77. Duquesne definitely scored 71. Someone check the gematria on Blue Jays. Creighton might have a 77 connection. Yeah, I'm very aware that Arizona scored 85, and look at how they hardly scored anything at the end of the game. They were close to 85 with what, like 8 minutes left, and then they hardly score any points at the end of the game. Just like last year, they hardly scored any points at the end of the game, and they ended up losing. Ended up losing to the Ivy League school. So, if anybody wants to come on here and share their their observations on the bracket, what they think, their time of having the knowledge, what Gematria has helped them do, now's a great time. Look for that top pinned comment. The top pinned comment in the chat is the way to get on the stream. So Oscar Garcia, shout out to Oscar Garcia. Appreciate the tip. Yeah, Gematria, it's the way to maintain consistent earnings and seeing with laser vision through the consistently rigged sports.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent.
Yeah. Creighton scored 77, and they got a 77 connection in their gematria. Yeah, and there'll be 1,000 more examples of that as the tournament goes on. Like Arizona 85 with Lute Olson. I mean, it's just like the Catholic school Duquesne was 71. I honestly forget what the Michigan State Mississippi State score was already. Go back and double check. The first game, the first play-in game where Howard lost. Howard nearly came back and won, and when they nearly came back and won, Wagner could not get off 69 points. Wagner was stuck on 69 forever, and Howard equals 69. And again, you watched it. It was like, okay, this team was just playing so fluid, moving the ball around nice, and now all of a sudden they can't make a logical pass. They're just stuck, around the half court, turning it over, dribbling it off their shoe. If they're not all in on the rig on the court, then somebody on the sidelines is doing some juju magic on the team. You know what I mean? The North Carolina being a 1 seed, you guys, something to know about North Carolina. Their coach is Hubert Davis, and he's going to become 6-1 in the tournament with this opening round win while he's 61 years old. Or excuse me, not while he's 61 years old, but while Michael Jordan, who's infamous or, synonymous, I should say, with North Carolina, while Michael's 61. But remember who died right as college basketball is getting underway. Of course, Bobby Knight died, who's from Indiana, like Purdue, another 1 seed. Bobby Knight died right as college. Bobby Knight, remember, Bobby Knight was 5th all-time in wins for college coaches, died exactly 5 days before the college basketball season started. Of course, basketball's 5-on-5. But then the very next day, Hubert Davis's uncle died. Walter Davis, the Greyhound, one of the greatest shooters and players for the Phoenix Suns in their basketball history. So you got the Final Four in Phoenix this year. Hubert Davis's uncle's dead right as the season's getting underway when he's coaching at North Carolina, who won the last tournament in Arizona. And if they do have North Carolina and Arizona play each other in the bracket, that's going to be a tough game to call because really both of those schools have very interesting narratives. But remember, if Arizona does play North Carolina, the only time Arizona ever won a championship, they beat North Carolina in the Final Four. They can't meet in the Final Four this year because they're in the same bracket. They can meet in the Elite Eight. It'd be the 1 versus the 2. But it is very possible that you see North Carolina and Arizona face off since that's part of the Lute Olson legacy. He had to go through that team to win that championship. So here, this person in the chat who just like the people that come and leave comments like this Chris guy, you find the connections, but you can't predict the game's outcomes. Your record proves that. So Chris, we're like on what, like a 30 straight day in the sports Patreon of having winning days. I mean, go back and tell me when the last day we didn't have a winning day is. There might have been a 50-50 day in the last 30 days. So like when you say my record proves that, it's like, well, the last 30 days, the last 10 years, just like your words are the complete opposite of the truth. We come out of the gates with 2 big upsets, a big Duquesne upset who we loved. Talking about Arizona 85 all year, called Arizona to score 85 against Arizona State before they did. If I can't call sports games, who can? Because I can't name a single person in the world who's called more sports futures ever. And we've been here for a decade calling sports games and have a way better resume than anyone who's ever walked this earth. So why don't you come on the stream and tell me how my record proves what you're saying? What your words prove is you're either a short bus rider or one of the paid-for trolls that sits around the community and talks bullshit. Yeah, 30 straight days of winning. Yeah, your record proves it. Nope. Both those games were upsets because Michigan State was also the underdog. What's up, man? Thanks for joining the stream.
Hey, what's up, Zach? All these people out there that want to troll you are retarded, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah, they are. That guy who left that comment's literally a fucking retard. It's just like, dude,
Yeah.
if you think what he said's true, you're a fucking retard.
Yeah, Zach, I love your work. I'm trying to learn to do it on my own because I still have still learning. That's why I follow you and try to do the best I can on my own. I just have certain questions like when you have like the date numerology today is 5, and you see like certain numbers like 58 and 32. What makes it think because the numbers can go.
It wouldn't be 58, right? It would be 59. But all the fives are 5. The 5 numerologies are 5, 14, 23, 32, 41, 50,
Correct.
59, 68.
But how do you know when the number is going to go against the team? Because you know sometimes the numerology can go against the team.
Right. And I don't know the answer to that question. It's just like that's why you ride with the averages. It's just like like who's been dominating in the NBA on 5-date numerology? De'Aaron Fox, star player, number 5, who was the 5th pick of the draft. I'd continue to ride a guy like him. It's just like Kevin Durant, who wears number 35, who's 35 years old, hit the first bucket of the last 5 Suns games on 35 Thursday. Is he going to do it again this week for the 6th time? Maybe not, but I'm not going to cry if he doesn't. I'm still taking that bet today because it's a winning pattern. So, I mean, that's where we are with the research. We understand the patterns and what's more likely than not, and we know some things just aren't what they used to be, like Colorado 38 used to never miss. Now it's probably down to hitting in 70% of games. But you just got to ride the law of averages. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's just like we were the guy who wears number 6 for the Bulls. The other week on a 6-date numerology, he had a terrible game when the week before he had a great game on the 6-date numerology. The game he went was terrible. He was 0 for 6 from 3-point land on the 6-date numerology wearing his number 6. So you just got to live with it right now for as far as we understand the work when the number goes against you. But yeah, I wish I knew how to differentiate. I don't.
Because Wagner and UNC, Wagner has both 68 and 32, and the halftime score was both total at 68. So I took Wagner a little small parlay for plus 4,000 because I saw that.
Okay, well, here, I'll remind something that I always say. Gematria usually beats numerology when the two things are against each other. And remember, UNC equals 16, and Wagner's on their way to getting their 16th loss as a 16 seed versus UNC. So what I love is when the Gematria and the date numerology align. But typically when the Gematria riddle's against the date numerology riddle, the Gematria is the better narrative.
Okay, fair enough. But I just wanted to show my support for you, man, and screw these trolls. Why all the work that they try to do to sully your name, they don't have. They can't come on here and debate you and show you statistics of everything that you were wrong on. They only can say something that is not concrete. It's just crazy.
Well,
You
the
know?
same trolls are the same ones that are dropping the comments for the one guy who screen records everything and then edits everything in a certain way to make it look like I was on the wrong side. Like he keeps putting out videos to make it look like I loved Baltimore to win the Super Bowl. Anyone who was on our football thing knows. First of all year, you guys, we had futures in for the Chiefs and the Ravens in the AFC. But once the playoffs came around and the way everything lined up, I told people it looked like Baltimore was as dead as anything, and the Chiefs were taking the thing. I mean, we didn't really come off the Chiefs at all. And conference championship weekend, we said this looks like it's another Joe Montana tribute, just like 2019-20 season. Looks like Chiefs versus Niners with the Chiefs prevailing. And trolls over there cutting up everything to try and make it look like we had the Ravens, which is just bullshit. Baltimore was dead in the AFC championship. They fell to 5-8 versus the Chiefs, and Andy Reid stayed on 58 losses. And again, Andy Reid's 58th loss came in the Super Bowl stadium. So, yeah, I mean, the troll's just totally dishonest and disingenuous. He just edits everything like a politician and tries to, distort the truth. So
they're so insecure. That's why they have to come in here and show their genitals.
Exactly. And that's why they also won't come in here on the stream and put their face on and have a debate. They know that they're not going to win.
But I salute to you, Zach, man. Keep up the good work, and I'm always supporting you, brother.
All right. They're saying in the chat they can't hear us again. How did the sound go out?
I don't know. All right.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
17th season. This is 17th season here in 2024 for Dan Wilson. It ends at the hands of Arizona. Meantime,
Is the sound really out, you guys?
North Carolina Tar Heels. Come on, Wagner. Taking on the number 16 seed Wagner. Armando Baycott. 3-4 times only. You see Baycott goes up.
Okay, sound is good. I saw people saying that they couldn't hear it, and I'm like, okay, maybe those people are behind in the stream. For you guys behind in the stream, maybe don't leave comments about what you're hearing in the moment if you're 45 minutes behind in the stream. Yeah, there were points earlier in the stream where the sound went out because we got phone calls. If we get phone calls, the stream goes out. All right, well, should we keep streaming? If you guys want me to keep streaming, join the room and come discuss, because I feel like we've already laid down enough evidence to fully prove how rigged the tournament is just with what Arizona just did. Just cap it off for us. So,
rotation going high low, and he was just a beneficiary of
like I said last night on the stream, we're not doing the regular live stream time today because I want to watch the games and suck in the clues. We're gonna for today and tomorrow. We're going to live stream late, and then we'll be live streaming this weekend too. We're going to be live streaming like every day during the tournament, but we're not doing the regular 11 a.m. time slot today or tomorrow so that we can observe the games and take in the rigging. But yeah, we will stream tonight when the games are winding down to recap what we saw on the day. So.
Today we're going to talk about connecting to the shooting technique.
the cookie jar. Try it. Release into the cookie jar.
All right, yeah, if anybody wants to join the stream again, look at the top pinned comment. It's the link to join. And I think StreamYard recently did something where you need to log in with your Google account or your Facebook account if you want to participate. It wasn't like that a minute ago, but that's how it is now. But if you just log in with your Google account, it should log you in right away, since most of you guys are already on your Google account since you're in the comment section. I hope that doesn't mean that StreamYard's now owned by these companies. That won't be a good sign in the future. Shout out to Cousin Mar, man.
And March 27th is Jersey Mike's annual day of giving, where 100% of sales from every sub are given back to the community.
Join us for Jersey Mike's Day of Giving. Be a sub above. I'm a bird stuck in Larry Bird's attic. And I'm going cuckoo.
Soldier Field says, what about Knicks handing Denver their 666th home loss? Again, New York has that 666 connection in Sumerian gematria, which is multiplying the alphabet a quarter times 6. That is interesting. That is interesting.
Save money and be protected from mayhem, like me.
Oh, wait, what happened? There we go. What's up, Sosa?
Hey, Zach. Yeah, sorry, we got cut off earlier. I wanted to add some things. Like the original college name, I believe Duquesne is also
Isn't it
called...
pronounced Duquesne? Isn't it Duquesne?
Yeah, Duquesne. I don't know. I hear like 3 different people say it 3 different ways.
Because it's spelled in such a weird way. It's a good example
Yeah.
of how the Catholics made the language and it's all number code. It's like, what kind of spelling is that anyway?
And then what country would that be? You know, France.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
French. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think their original name was the Holy Ghost College. Pretty sure. So, yeah, I've been looking up, you know, just those little extra details and, you know, things like that. Maybe that could play a factor in. But did you know that they were a Catholic school?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the Catholic school wins with 71 in the first big upset of the tournament, given the brand name March Madness.
Yeah, and it was just, you know, not to harp on it too much, but it was the most Vatican riddle I've seen because it was the coach's 211th game, and he stayed on 95 losses against you know, Mark Pope. So that was pretty crazy. And then something to, you know, take note of, these national holidays. You know, for instance, National Peacock Day.
Right. The Peacocks won the other year. The last win came on National Peacock Day. And what day did it start on? Like St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, St. Patrick's
starts
Day.
on St. Patrick's Day. Now this year they're playing on
Crazy.
National Peter Day. Okay.
Yeah, but my point about these holidays is a lot of them are made up. If you Google them the year before, there's no time, there's no existence of it. It might say it's incepted. Like I looked up National Peter Day. It says it's incepted in 2023. But if you look at March 21st, you know, 2023, there was no National Peter Day. You got what I'm saying?
I see.
So it was the same case with National Peacock Day. And I mean, with that type of riddle, it's, yeah, maybe lightning may strike twice in the same place. But it's just the fact that they're even just making up these holidays, like for the game.
I think it was the first ever National Peacock Day when the Peacocks won on that day. I see North Carolina's up 85-58, the reflection of 85 right now. With 85 seconds, they had the game stopped on a minute 30. Or no, I can't do math. That's 95 seconds, isn't it? I'm getting carried away. But 85-58. Yeah, okay. We'll see.
See, you're trying to make it work. Okay,
oh, they went past it. They netted the 88th points with a deep 3.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, they're still doing all that stuff. Again, they could get their 6th ring as a number 1 seed. I think you just said that.
They like something about Arizona. They won it last time I was here.
Yep, and probably got to look at one of their players, maybe Kobe White. Maybe they do a Kobe, 2024 joke. He's the Chicago Bulls point guard, right? We got to take a look. We got to take a look at Kobe White. But also, man, I mean, Yale has the riddle of the century. I do want to flash back to when the Skull and Bones video game came out. The Pennsylvania coach, the University of Pennsylvania coach, he could have went 3-2-2 and 3-2-2 against Yale, and he didn't even cover the spread. And maybe it's all for this. Maybe
well,
it's all
he's not Yale though, so it's like maybe that number ritual is not going to go in his favor because he's not Yale. So
yeah, but
we'll see what Yale, while it's 322 years old, does tomorrow on their 3-2-2 game.
Yep, and the coach, he's born 20/2 as well, and so interesting riddle there with Yale. And just kind of for my last point is, did you see in the Akron game how they kept them on 42 points and they finished with 60?
Oh, nice little racial touch.
Yeah. So I'm thinking some of these.
North Carolina might finish their game on 90. The interesting thing about them crossing through 85 and going to 90 is the Final Four for their bracket is on the 90th day of the year. Or hold on, is that right? No, not the Final Four. That's the Elite 8 game. The Elite 8 game's on the 90th day of the year.
Elite 8 game. Yeah.
March 30th.
March 30th. Damn. Interesting. What I thought was also interesting, last point here, is the 11 seeds, if they all win, they would get to 59 wins in the first round.
Say that again?
If they all won, they would get to 59 all-time wins in the first round.
If who all wins?
11 seeds.
Oh, okay.
So I was just thinking, and I know Pope Francis is 58 and 59, but
Look at that. Wagner loses with 62. And Jordan equals 62. And Hubert Davis gets to 6-1 while Jordan's 61 years old. They just put up North Carolina 33-2, 33-2, 33-2 record since it started with the round of 64. Michael, of course, has that gematria 33.
And one, well, the coach who lost, right, Howard, he could have got his 60-second loss. So instead, they have him lose, and the team that wins, they lose with 62.
Right, yeah, and Howard was 33. So
Yep.
yeah,
It's just
I think ESPN baited the whole country into betting on Wagner. I think
Oh,
all the
thank
media
you.
did, because ESPN was showing that Wagner was already in the tournament for all of their
every
celebrity
team they did that with lost. Every team.
except both of them won yesterday, but the first day both the pick. So that's what they did. Everyone that they showed that was in for the pick'ems, like it was already a done deal. They both lost on the first day, but then they both won yesterday, so it split.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. They're all acting like Florida Atlantic's going to be in. I wouldn't be surprised if Northwestern, a lot of the ESPN alumni like Rachel Nichols are also from Northwestern University. But on the NCAA website bracket, every team that was listed first, Virginia, Howard, Boise State, they would show the other team, but it would be like a slash, like Boise State / Colorado. The team listed first would lose. And then when Joe Lenardi was doing his bracket or whatever, he wouldn't even do the play-in game. He would just say that team's going to be in Howard, and they would lose too. So I'm just like, that classic ESPN, right? Maybe they do that, and they're right about UConn.
Did you see ESPN just bought all the rights to all college football playoffs going forward?
I'm surprised they didn't already have that. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, ESPN will now have every college football playoff game. And then they were addressing it because it just happened the other day, and the commentators like, oh, the people are online are saying now ESPN's going to control what teams make it, and they're like, I can't believe people would think the networks would have control over the outcomes of the games, and they're having a conversation amongst all these ESPN employees about how dumb that is. It's like, imagine being the dope watching this right now and agreeing
And believing
with
it.
ESPN pundits. Like what, you think this is a fair panel of people to have an opinion? Of course the networks control how rigged the games are. ESPN's always dropping the clues.
Man, I loved it. I was at some like little world famous sports bar down the road, and all these retarded sheep just cheering for BYU. And then when they lose, they're like, well, everyone knows BYU just shoots threes, and if they're off, if you just defend the threes, they just act like it's so normal.
Then you're like, nah, they fell to 15 and 34, and here's what we're talking about. And then all of them say, oh, that's got to be a coincidence. You just laugh at it and say, yeah, thanks. I'm collecting my money right now. So.
That's why I just show them the betting slip, why we love them on the money line, how it was synced up with LeBron James, the Pope, and all this stuff. But you made a good point of how the TV controls a lot of stuff. Do you remember in the NBA play-in tournament, every player who they showed holding the ball would win? Do you remember this like 2 years ago or something?
They've done so many things like that. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, but just keep an eye on that. If they have a promo and it's like one player holding the ball, the other player's not, and then you see a trend of that player winning. They haven't done that stuff, and then finally in the last game they didn't do it. But hey, I appreciate you for waking me up. I remember my first game ever thinking it was rigged. I think I told you this. James Harden blew like a 27-point lead when he was with Houston. He was hitting all these contested three-pointers, swishing them. But when he was wide open, he's missing them, airballing it. And I'm like, okay, how is this possible? Does he get paid more to blow the game? How would the
exactly. I remember before I knew Gematria years ago, a kid that I grew up with that was a good basketball player who played at Gonzaga was Derek Ravio. For people who remember him, Derek Ravio, white point guard for Gonzaga, great shooter, set the NCAA record for free throw percentage. And I grew up with him and played basketball with him. I mean, he was skinny, so he couldn't play defense, but man, he was just, you could not beat that kid ever in horse because he didn't miss. But he played a game against North Carolina in Madison Square Garden, and he lit North Carolina up in the first half. And Gonzaga had a big lead on UNC, and they ended up winning the game. But the whole second half, the story was how bad Ravio was playing. He just kept throwing the ball out of bounds, and he couldn't make a shot, and he just kept turning it over. And the announcer's like, "Wow, Ravio just really lost it this half." And I'm just like, dude, this kid does not play basketball like this ever. Like all Derek Ravio did growing up is carry around 2 basketballs in both hands at all times, dribble them down the hallways with both times between class. Security be like, "You got to stop dribbling in the hallway, Ravio." That kid is a basketball machine. Never in his life would he ever play like he played in the second half of that game in Madison Square Garden. But then it brought the game back and it made it exciting. And then
like Wagner
barely got the win. And it's just like, I mean, you can't. And then he probably could have played in the NBA. He played professionally for the rest of his adult life in Europe. But
did you see the end of the Wagner game?
He was throwing the game in the second half. It was just so obvious.
What you just described is exactly what that little white kid from Wagner did at the end versus Howard. He would just dribble into the corner, burn a timeout, dribble in the second half to make
that
it
was
close.
Yeah, Ravio was doing the same thing exactly. Like, dribble into the corner, get trapped, turn the ball over. It's like, come on, man, this isn't how he plays basketball.
What pisses me off is there are people better than me at basketball with a higher basketball IQ than me. They might even be smarter in some book smart stuff, but it's like they'll see that stuff and they're just like, "Oh, come on, you think he's doing that on purpose?" It's like, obviously he hasn't done that, hasn't made a dumb play like that all game. They're telling you the team has 2 turnovers in the first half and now they have 10 in the last 5 minutes. I played with some good guys, Christian Wilkins on the Miami Dolphins. These guys are just born to play. I mean, even the story of him, his grandfather being killed in a no-knock raid, and now he's out there signing $100 million contracts with the Raiders. But I mean, just like all through life, it was like the guy was just pushed to play these pro sports. He comes from, an NBA lineage, and it's like people think they would just even if they told the truth on this stuff, everyone would just look at them as crazy, mock them.
Right. I went to high school with 2 pro athletes too. Ravio, who played professionally in Europe and at Gonzaga, and then the guy who played professionally in the NFL it's funny, he wasn't even a football player in high school, but he became one. Well, his senior year he played tight end, and then he became a lineman at Eastern Washington. But he signed over $100 million in NFL contracts, being the left tackle for the Titans for a decade. His name was Michael Roos. And him and his brother, he had a brother a year older who didn't make it to the pros, but also played collegiately. They weren't like any other kids at the high school because they're both giants. They're both from Estonia, and they both every single day wore the same clothes. I mean, they're probably like
polo, khakis. You said.
Yeah, you've heard me talk about these guys. They both wore khakis every single day with a belt and a tucked-in white polo shirt every single day.
It's like they're made in a lab. It's literally like they're just farmed to come.
Well, that's what I really start to look at it because they never talked. They were like they didn't have a personality, but they were great athletes. They were like gentle giants. They weren't rude people. They just had like literally no personality. Didn't talk. Just gigantic athletic guys. And from Estonia. Who the hell else in my neighborhood was from Estonia? Nobody. So, yeah, it does look like that in hindsight. It's like these guys were born and bred to be.
Do you know what they're doing now? Because a lot of them, they're farmed that way. I mean, the Bushes are an extreme example, but they come from like Connecticut or whatever. And they put them in Texas and Florida, these big states to really. So I'm asking, like, they were in that situation. What influence does he have now, or
I don't know. He had an article some years ago in the local paper in Vancouver, Washington, about how he's gonna donate a bunch of money to charity, which is nice. But you hear those. And do these guys even get to control their own money? Who knows? It's just he was just such a abnormality of a person, a gentle giant who wears a white polo shirt and khakis every day, and he was a great basketball player, but then he made it in football, which is interesting. So.
Yeah, no, interesting stuff, man. Well, thanks for letting me back on, and I'll let you go.
All right. Yep. All right. Later, Tachi.
See ya. Peace.
All right, we got somebody else in the back room. What's up, Trayvon?
Hey, how's it going, Zach?
Going all right. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, I found some stuff that's kind of interesting. Is it cool if I share it here, or should I wait? Okay. So, I just thought it was interesting that first off, let me say it's National Peter Day.
Yes, it is.
In light of St. Peter's playing Tennessee. And what's interesting is in 2022, St. Peter's upset the second seed Kentucky, and they beat them 85-79. I know you're looking for 85 a lot.
Oh yeah. They do it again in the opening round. Is a 15 versus 2, 85th tournament. Yeah.
Right. And then just to add to that, the last game of Kentucky season, regular season, and Tennessee, they played Tennessee, and they beat them. Wait, hold on, let me double check. One of them had 85.
St. Peter's team going on that run. Just like such an itty bitty, teeny tiny team. And you guys, let's not forget about the way people die too. Let's see if they do it again around March 22nd, because here's a streak that's going. Elgin Baylor died the other year on March 22nd, right before Baylor won the championship. And Elgin Baylor died at 86, and then Baylor won with 86 points over the Jesuit school Gonzaga. Elgin Baylor went to the other Jesuit school in Washington State, Seattle U. And then the next year, St. Peter's had the big run, and Delnardo Webster, their highest drafted player, died on March 22nd. And then last year, Creighton was the last surviving Jesuit school. And I'm trying to remember who it was that died. The Jesuit player for Creighton died. God, his son was coaching the Rockets last year. I cannot think of his damn name. He actually died on March 21st, but then they announced it on March 22nd, if I remember right. So, yeah, tomorrow's March 22nd. The last 3 years, a prominent Jesuit basketball player has been announced dead on March 22nd. So, hopefully that doesn't happen again, but at the same time, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, same. But yeah, so Kentucky played Tennessee for the last game of the season, and Kentucky beat Tennessee 85-81. So I just found that interesting, all the 85, and then the fact that St. Peter's beat Kentucky, upset Kentucky in 2022 with 85, and then they can upset Tennessee today, which Kentucky just beat with 85 points. So just some stuff I thought was interesting to point out.
Yeah, that's a lot of 85.
Also, you mind if I go into talk about, ask a question about the NFL real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll put it this way. If the Chiefs were to go back, do you think 19 would be a prevalent number again?
Yeah, it probably will be, because, I mean, it's Joe Montana's number, and Mahomes is the new Montana. So.
Well, I found it interesting that it's in the New Orleans in the Superdome when Hurricane Katrina happened on August 29th, 2005. Like, so if you add 8 + 2 + 9 is 19, and then 2-5, like when the next Super Bowl will be. So I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, that's about it, man.
All right. Keep up the good research. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right. We got Corey T.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Still dealing with my targeted program going on.
What's that?
I'm still actively being targeted by satellites and nanotechnology.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about the topic?
Well, I got a lot of people in my town that still support Trump, and because I don't support him, I'm kind of the outcast.
Sure. Yeah.
So
you go against the herd, you will become the outcast. So.
Yeah. So you don't buy into that Trump shit either.
Obviously not. I've been talking about what a puppet he is since 2015 when he began running by the numbers.
It's sad that a lot of people have sold out to him and they still think that he's their savior.
Yeah, it is. And again, he runs on Mega, which is the highest. It's the highest and fifth degree of the Church of Satan. And again, if you don't know the Church of Satan, the number one tenet is it's all about you. It's all about your ego. And how is that not what Donald Trump promotes? It's all about him. So.
You still hear me?
I still hear you.
Yeah, I was just thinking, when's the last time you've been to the Midwest?
When I drove out to New York City, I was stopped in Minneapolis and Wisconsin and Chicago.
Did you see a lot of stupid robotic people?
They're everywhere.
Like, they think I'm the stupid robot because I talk about things that they don't want to talk about. And the sad thing is, they just care about their stupid damn sports and their beer.
Yeah.
And they want to stay in the Matrix.
It's the George Orwell quote. All it took to fill up the horizons of their minds was beer, gambling, and sports. So. All right, man. Well, I'm going to get back on the topic here, but I appreciate you dropping by. Thank you very much. You have a good day, Corey. All right. All right. Well, hey, just being on here for the short time we have, I really did get my wish seeing Arizona score 85. It's just amazing that people just think everything's a damn coincidence. One more time, if anybody else wants to come on here and talk about the tournament or their success with Gematria, or if there's any even real critics out there, I mean, hey, now's the time. I always welcome critics. We never really get any real criticism. We get trolls and people who make false statements, but never any real criticism. So if you want to join, the link is the top pinned comment. And I believe the new thing on StreamYard is when you try to join, it'll ask you to sign in with your Google account. You just click do that, and then it just should log you in. So, and you don't have to put your face on the screen. You can just give access to your mic. All right. We do have between the three streams we're between the three things we're streaming on X and 2 YouTube channels. We got 800 people in the room. Thank you to everyone who was here. Thank you to everyone who hits the like. And if we don't have anybody else, I think we can wrap this up because I feel like I've been sitting too long. I got to go work it out. Got to get a little workout. Got to do a little bit more yard work, and then again for everyone on the Patreon, we will stream tonight. I announced last night that we're not going to do our regular stream time today or tomorrow. We're going to stream late tonight and just recap, give ourselves a chance to watch the games and watch for the clues. The notes were put out for NBA and NHL this morning, as always. Thanks, Blue Eyes. Did you see Arizona scored 85 for old loot? Give me the loot. Hey, I don't call anything a lock, Jacob, but you just got to go with the smart riddles and the value and just stick to your guns. It's like I laid out the strategy. If during the tournament you're a big spender, and again, some of you guys like to just bet crazy money, but I think it's a lot to gamble $50 in a day, but some of you guys, that's just what you do every day. I'd advise if your budget was $50 a day to gamble for each March Madness tournament, like I explained again, I'll say it one more time. What I would do if I was going to bet $50 in a day is I'd make 10 $5 bets. And in each of those $5 bets, my strategy would be to make it a parlay that would pay about $50. So that means you have to hit on one of the 10 parlays to make a profit. Because if you hit on one, you get your $5 back that you bet, and you get the 50 you earned. So you lost on your other 9, so your $45 is gone, but you got your 50 earnings and your 5 back. So you made a profit. And the thing is, you hit on 2 of those 10, now you've more than doubled your money. You hit on 3 of those 10, you've more than tripled your money. You hit on 4 of those 10, so. And like today, we loved Duquesne, right? So Duquesne could have been something you could have stuck in multiple of those 10 parlays. We loved Michigan State. We thought, these teams like Arizona and North Carolina look like locks. You put them on game ticket with a team like Duquesne and Michigan State. Well, now that's a very valuable parlay. And, you would have had a ticket with Akron to potentially upset Creighton. That one would have obviously lost. But, if you'd done 10 parlays today with that strategy, you've already made yourself a profit by just Duquesne and Michigan State and the other games coming through. And then there's other potential upsets that can come in today. So, again, that's what I always say about bet modest, but be smart. Smart parlays with a nice multiplier effect. And again, it's the same strategy. What I always advise people is, just gamble $5 a day. Don't be a degenerate, but try to turn $5 into 50 each day. That way you only got to hit 1 out of every 10 days to make sure you're steadily building a slow profit. And if that doesn't sound great to you, well, think about it from a market standpoint. If you're investing in the market and you can turn $50 into $55 every 10 days, you're actually doing really great. I mean, that's way better than a market return. And the thing is, at the rate that we hit games, we will hit a lot better than 1 out of 10. I'm just making the point. You stay with that strategy, 1 out of 10 will keep you building. 2 out of 10 will be doubling your money. Better than that every 10 days. And sure enough, as time goes on, as you build up your house money, yeah, you can turn your daily $5 parlay habit into a daily $10 parlay habit. To parallel things to the market, there's a young guy that's a day trader, and he talks about how he started with $1,000 and now has $100 million. And he started small, and as he got better at what he did, he started making bigger bets. And I can't think of his name right now, but if you know what I'm talking about, he talks about the market, and now he does his live streams. He has a hangar, and he has a private jet, and he's got all these $100,000 cars in there, and he's doing monthly car giveaways if you sign up and pay the hundreds of dollars a month for his stock picks. But really what he does is, he just watches, the market, and he picks a stock that's volatile, and he watches for the resistance and the support, and he waits till the stock's way down and he thinks it's going to surge back up. And then he puts $400,000 on the line. And if it surges up, in the next 2 minutes, a few points, well, he just like that, he's made 30, 40,000 more dollars. He's in and out. And, again, it's kind of the same thing with this. You start small, you build up, you get better, you get your niche, you get your patterns you're most comfortable with, and you just keep building. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. We're off to a great start. Congrats to the winners. Don't get again, the mistake people will make is they'll get too confident and they'll have won, a few $1,000s, and then they'll put it all down on the game that they felt like is an absolute lock, and then it wasn't an absolute lock, and then they gave all their money back. Again, just stay steady, be the hare, keep building. Don't try to be the tortoise and become the overnight millionaire, because next thing you know, you're going to be right back at square one. Good narratives do fail, as we know, but keep watching for those 85s. Will there be any other team to finish with 85? Like we said, man, it's in Arizona, the Final Four. It's all about Lute Olson, who died at 85, who coached Long Beach State and Arizona. Come on, man. Arizona, first team to score 85 over Long Beach State. Oh, man. It just kills me that people think it's a coincidence. It's a damn shame. All right, you guys, back to work. Enjoy the games, and we'll be streaming late tonight on Patreon. If you guys aren't on the Patreon, man, join the Patreon. Always people in the comments like, hey, Zach, tell me this. Can you tell me this? It's like, man, can't you just find like $5 and sign up? It's $5 a month. What's $5 divided by 30 days? Isn't that like 17 cents a day? Come on, man. You can't support the work at the rate of 17 cents a day and then help yourself get ahead. You get a lot of content from me for $5 a month. If you can afford $11 a month, then you get all the live streams too. So, and what's that? 30-some cents a day? It's not too bad either. That's budgetable. All right, True Sticker. Thanks again to everyone who hit the like and the share. Thanks to everyone who supports the Patreon. Links in the description of every video. One more time, congrats to the winners. And until next time. Shout out to Soldier Fields. Indeed it is. Shout out to Tawan Gann, always with the fire. Until next time, everybody.